So even though our hydroponic greenhouse was off to a good start, it was inherently unable to plant crops like garlic and other root vegetables. And most crucially, we were unable to really recycle all that organic matter that we were producing. We had a little bit more space in the back, and so what we came up with was to go with regenerative agriculture. We really wanted to go with a few core principles. Number one, to really restore the soil, and second of all, not disturb the soil. And number three, come up with a system of plants that would support and benefit each other. So the first decision we made was on ground cover. Primarily it was based on around clover. Other than actually injecting nutrients into the soil by covering the soil, it tends to shade it from the sun, lowers the soil temperatures, and control the soil structure. We also planted native flowering plants from the region. The wildflowers attract insects that then come to the garden, first to pollinate the wildflowers, but second to then also pollinate whatever other crops that are flowering in the vicinity. Part of maintaining the garden was to also decide what crops to grow next in the sequence. And so what we ended up doing was succession planting. We would basically plan out the crops that were to be grown so that you can actually continue to enjoy harvest throughout the growing season. What we selected was actually a worm composting system set up in our garage that we would feed every week or so. So it's time to feed the worms again. So we've got a compost bin that we've been collecting food scraps for the past week or so. And so all we need to do is to then put them in here. So these scraps are mainly coffee grounds, vegetables, fruit peels, no citrus. So what I like to do is to just spread them out in a layer, and I'm just going to cover it with compost. This helps to block flies from getting to the food. And then you cover it and wait. So remember that the worms actually, as they feed, they move all the way up to the top. That means the lowest part here, the lowest rack here, actually contains the oldest scraps, and hence the compost is going to be collected from the bottom. And if all things are right, there shouldn't be any worms in here left. There's maybe a couple left here, but that's fine. We're just going to take it outside, put it in a little basin. See, we got some eggshells in there. Maybe we should crush them a little bit better next time. It looks pretty good, right? Remember that this used to be all food scraps, and now it's completely broken down except for the egg shells. And now we just put so yeah, I'm gonna have to scoop it up. Black gold. Don't waste it. When we started out in spring, the first thing we planted was actually corn. And then in between the corn, we would plant beans, cucumber, melons. This is obviously inspired by the Three Sisters. The traditional way of doing this would have been to have corn, pole beans, and squash together. And as it's the end of the season here, I think it's time to really clean it up. So what we're going to do today is to clear out these rows. What we're going to try to do is to pull out the plants without disturbing the soil too much. And to do that, perhaps we'll just cut them right at the stem, at the base, and leave the roots in the ground.